Hey everybody, this is Alessandro. Welcome back to my channel. A couple of days ago, a friend of mine shared this crazy action sequence with me. I watched it multiple times. I really enjoyed really great camera movement and stuff like that. And I thought about it, it would be really cool to share on my channel, especially I'm being not active for quite some times right now. And sharing with you, discuss about it, what is working really well, what could have been improved a little bit more. But overall, I think is a great piece. And by the way, I think this is done by a Chinese studio. I don't really know the name of the studio, so if by any chance you want to let me know, write it down in the comment. I would love to give credit to the amazing people who did this fantastic job. All right, but let's go and take a look at it together. All right, guys. So first of all, kudos to whoever did this, the overall idea, storyboard, layout, camera, and animation, because pulling off such a sequence like this is definitely very, very challenging and very impressive. So kudos and big bravo to whoever did this. It's really an amazing sequence. Everybody involved should be really, really proud. All right. But what I want to discuss with you today is some of the things that I think really works really, really well, are really well done and well executed, and other things sometimes that I still feel can be improved. And this is nonetheless, obviously, my personal opinion. All right. So I hope nobody's taking personal. We're just doing for the sake of admire a very beautiful animation and discuss it together. All right. So let's take it with this with a grain of salt. Okay, let's start with this one, with this very early camera movement. So for me, one of the things at least when I watched it the first time, because everything is moving really fast, and the issue that I had is because the camera, you see, the framing is centered around this character overall here, and because the camera is rotating around this character here, right? My center of focus is this section. And because of that, and because we have a quick camera movement, I actually completely miss where these things is coming from. Because again, my eyes of attention were here, and suddenly this guy get hit by this part, and then as soon as we go here, the character started to flow in and kind of hit this one. So I kind of feel like this could have been done in a different way. Like maybe actually the stick hitting this guy here, the stick bounce here, and then the main character coming. Because at the moment I had to watch it multiple times to realize that these things was coming and hitting this guy. The very few times you kind of miss those things, and it's okay if some people watch it over and over and they discover new details. But when you're watching a movie, a sequence, ideally you should have a very clear idea of what's going on when you watch it for the very first time, right? And I love how dynamic and fast-paced action this is, right? I love this very light, straight line of action here, right? How the body kind of bend. Sorry, by the way, for the quality of the video. That's the best I could find, and unfortunately, the blur also covered a little bit some stuff. And I love how do they go from this kind of straight line of action to a compression here. See, they're doing like a squash, and then kind of a little bit of a stretch, right? Could have been maybe a little bit more powerful, but overall, you're still getting the idea, because it's not hitting him anyway. It's just taking the stuff here, right? So I love how this done. It's very in a nice sequential way, like very clean leg motion. You can see they're really doing here, this very clean arc with the leg and the arc. Really well done here, right? And from here they're basically using the landing, right? The landing here, right, to go from this position to another compression, all right? Uh, Another thing is you'll notice that sometimes some of the poses are not super well crafted, right? In the sense here, things started to look very broken. But because overall, I think they put a lot of emphasis on the overall timing and spacing and some of the extreme, you can still getting away with that. See, there is a lot of you. I think they mostly focus on the overall shape. See, here very straight, and then suddenly, boom, is going to the opposite side, right? It goes from here to here, right? So you still can feel the high contrast, even if you might say that the polish is not always there, right? And you see another compression here for this close shape to this one, right? Really high energy poses, right? And again, things here are flowing really well. Boom, another smack. The movement are always broad and big, which is nice. It makes it really readable. Okay, and again, as you can see, we always go from this open silhouette to a very compressed one, and then again very stretchy and open. Again, my personal opinion is could have been clean up, exaggerate a bit more those poses, but again, it's doing an amazing job. And I can also imagine that a sequence like this, it takes a huge amount of work, and I don't know how many months they took to do this one. And so at some point, I know it's very hard to polish every single detail. No, so it's easy for me to say, right? In production, guys, it's a completely different thing. So we always need to consider, and I always say this, like, guys, kudos to whoever this one, because this is really a masterpiece, and it takes a lot of work to do something like that, right? So always kudos to that. I like this. I love this. How here we're jumping, and we kind of change in perspective, because we go from this nice anticipation here, right? We go actually straight to the character, hitting the camera. I think this is a really cool transition. We go from a side view, actually feeling that the character, almost sitting the camera, and then switching to the other side, and see the enemy getting smacked and hit here, right? See how even this thing, like, see how the compression here, right? It's all these three characters together, and then boom, explode in three different parts, right? You can see this kind of explosion effect. Okay, make it really really cool and really nice, right? Okay, let's continue to take a look. Boom. So these are other things, for example, that I think it was a little bit of a miss. Like, you don't really get, when you watch it at full speed, you have no idea of this hammer coming down and grabbing it. It just doesn't read, in my opinion. It happened. It's basically coming out of nowhere. I think me personally, I think this would be easier if somehow the hammer was already here for whatever reason all the time, and it just go in front of it and grab it. But the issue is that the whole action of the hammer coming, right? It's happening at the same time of basically when the camera started to turn. And that's always what I talk about, and I tell people, when you have too many action happening at the same time, camera moving, your character moving, a hammer's coming down out of nowhere, everything is happening at the same time, you don't register what's going on. Okay, so you just see the action flowing, but if you think about it, it's very hard to miss where this hammer is coming from. I like the idea. I mean, I like the idea that we are breaking the action, going from the stick to this big hammer, right? And it kind of change a little bit the style of his action, because now it tends to be a lot more heavy, a lot more exaggerated. Those action here, right? Because the hammer is very heavy, so the body mechanics feel different. I love this action overall here, like with the with this kind of stuff, right? So he has a great break of pacing, right? I think it's really cool, right? Again, I love those explosions here. You see these three characters being grouped together, right? And then boom, exploding like this, all right? Now, when we take a look at the next section, there is also another things here. I think it could have been done in an easier way. So let me talk about it. So here we are on a side view, slightly on 3/4 side view, with the camera on this side of the screen, right? Kind of shooting this direction, right? And the issue that I'm having a little bit is that let me go here. We are going now to this side view where the camera is actually here, right? And then we go back again here to the side view overall here, right? So basically we go back on the same side angle that we had before. And this happened basically less than a couple of seconds when the camera, let me play at full speed, is switching left to right very, very quickly. Personally, I do think that this has zero storytelling point reason for doing that. And sometimes I think like, and this is something I can see from a lot of people when I talk about those things, sometimes I feel like people, they have the needs to constantly move the camera to justify and to make the shot dynamic. Somehow they think that in order to look dynamic and cool, the camera, every single frame needs to move somewhere. And if you hold somehow a pose or you slow down the camera for some reason, it doesn't look cool. Which me personally, I do not agree. I think it also happens in live action visual effects movie, where they all the time need to move the camera. They need to do camera cut, which again I do not agree. I feel like sometimes it's good to hold the camera for a little bit longer and see the action clearly, right? You can still have dynamic action with the camera slowing down, and the character could move all around fast, right? Actually, you could read it better, because when you have the character moving so fast and the camera moving all the time, things might start not just reading very well, okay? So I like the action here. Again, really fun how they go from far away small character until the stick kind of smacking in front of the camera. Really cool here, right? I really love this gesture. They do warm with the sticker on the camera with very beautiful arc and everything. Really fun, right? And then holding, see, this is nice now, holding this pose for a little bit, right? It gives a little bit of moment of a pause, right? And then here, things are happening. There is everything is shaking, is looking around, right? So we have finally a moment of breath here. Boom, it gets shot into the air. Again, another moment of pause, which is good, it's great. Now they're introducing properly the dragon here and the character, right? So it's more or less it's kind of split, on the 3/4 of the screen, right? It's hold very well here. The dragon is coming here, going down, and now here we're having all this boom action here. But again, I think this part is reading a little bit of better because there is more of a pause here. So even when the dragon disappears, there is like almost like a second before it's popping out on the other side. You have time to read it, you have time to hold it, and then it's popping here and going to the other part here, right? And I love here now, it's, we are changing the timing now, it's going, it's doing this, it's going around with a nice, really follow through on the body, okay, which makes the arc read very well, right? So you see a reverse here, right? Boom, right? Boom. See, like it's very nice how the character has been dragged all around, okay? I like at the end, the throw is in the air, we frame it here, and this action is really cool. This action is very cool. I wish again we could have held it maybe a little bit better here in the air, just for like a few extra frame, right? And then coming down here, boom, boom. Let me watch it one more time. This is really nice. Throws in the air, boom. Even here, see, after it does all those great action here, right? It does all this. I wish there was a moment where maybe he kind of like, he kind of settle and he balance here maybe for a second here, like he does all these crazy things around it. He finally finds his balance again for 6-7 frames, and then the dragon smacking him again, right? And I love the change of angle here. Get smack coming down, jump here, jump on the tree, sliding, boom. Even here, I like the overall choreography. I still feel like there are a few moments where I wish there was a few extra frame. Like these things, especially after this slide, I wish there was a few extra frame for this action. Maybe a little bit more of easy in here or something, and just to read it a little bit better. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, see, even here, for example, it goes here. I don't know if it's because of the framing as well, of the blur, could be also the resolution. But once you arrive here, for example, it's a little bit hard to read what's going on. Is it coming down? It's not very very clear, right? What I do like a lot is this part overall here, how it bounces. Okay, you see the thing is this one. You see the camera here, it's not that crazy. It's kind of tracking the action, right? And you just see boom, you see here, right? You see this one, right? Here's a bit of slowdown coming into this way, boom, boing, bouncing. It's basically a bouncing ball, right? And the camera slowly is tracking him. You see, like the camera doesn't have to make crazy movement left to right in a section like this. And this one reads very well, boom, boom, right? It stops here. It reads very well because the action is being given how dynamic is the character bouncing around, being small on screen. It's already making it feel very dynamic, right? And having the camera tracking very slowly, it's very nice. All right. Again, here we go against the camera. Really cool. Smacking the dragon. I love this part overall here. I love this section overall here. That is really slow here, and see the dragon, right? Really cool. If you ask me, I think the camera should have been a lot lower, because these things that started to be really for outside of screen. We are cutting here. I don't think it's a good cut here, especially we have so much negative space here that I don't see any value. I find like a framing like this, where the character was read properly, right? Maybe even a little bit more, and the dragon around this part of the screen. I feel the camera could have still moved. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like it should have kept the kind of framing through this whole section a little bit more, and obviously until here where the character is disappearing. This is really cool. Okay, gets in front of it, really nice. Boom. This, I can say, this is a moment that he reads very well because he does this great kick, right? Boom. You can see again the nice line of action. Okay, boom, right? And you do this, say you do this one really, really nice and powerful, but you also read the anticipation what is happening here because now it's compressing again here, right? Right, it's compressing here, right? There's a compression again, and then push, boom, push again. So this is like the moment where you want to make it really fast and dynamic because you have a big hole here, bam, really fast. You're going this direction, really, really nice and cool, right? This is all fun. Okay, it's funny. Getting here on the ground. It's coming again with a roll, very fast and dynamic here. The contact with the dragon, boom, again. See where we are going from a compression here for a decompression here, right? Bam, to finally kind of open up this sequence overall here, right? I'm smacking the ground, and I love how to give the kick. Even here, you see like another problem, in my opinion, of course, at least. It does this kick. The silhouette, the pose is amazing. The problem is like you don't read the kick very well because the camera immediately goes away and take the character out of frame immediately. The frame after you have this great pose, the character frame here, and you do not appreciate the kick that much actually. I think it's a bit of a shame because it would be worth it maybe just to stay here and having the camera follow the dragon a little bit longer. All right, and okay, same here. It could have again not a big hold, but again another few 4 to 5 frame would be really nice here. Boom, right? And this is a moment I'm getting confused actually again. Like I see this hit, right? Boom. Okay, we follow the dragon, right? And then again you see what's happening. The dragon is looking here. I have no idea what I'm looking at that here. The camera is going here. I don't know if they want us to see this small silhouette, but I do not have time to see it because now immediately going back to the dragon. And like I have no idea what is this for. Again, maybe I'm missing some context from the character and everything, but I do not understand what's going on because the character it does the camera goes here very quick and then immediately going back. So ideally, if they wanted to give some visibility, maybe we should have these two characters. I think there is another one here I can tell very well. Reading here with a big anticipation, right? Hold it for maybe at least a second and see them slowly anticipating and then knocking down like this, okay? There is this moment, honestly, when I'm getting a little bit lost. And again, I might not have context, but I don't read very well why this. I think it's double silhouette. It must be his power or something. I don't really understand where it's coming from, and they see they're coming very quickly. Okay, here I get it. It's been thrown. But again, they feel to me they're coming a bit out of nowhere. They're not being introduced. But again, this is completely out of context. Maybe if you're familiar with the character, with the movie and everything, you get it. For someone who just watched this, I feel like they come a little bit out of context, right? And obviously cool ending, right? The other things maybe I'm getting a little bit confused in the sense we see these two characters holding down with a stick, rope or whatever the dragon, and I do love what is doing the show off at the end and striking here the camera, but it looked like with this thing still on frame, look like it is trying uh, to cut the things rather than camera. So it was a little bit not that clear. But again, guys, this is like me just by analyzing and discussing with you what I consider to be good, things that can always improve. Again, this is like not meant to offend everybody, because as I repeat many times, this is like a great kick-ass sequence and really fun to watch, very entertaining. Kudos to whoever worked on this. Like, they should be very proud, to pull off something like this, guys. Making a crazy an entire sequence like this with so many characters, a fighting sequence, because it's a huge fighting sequence, right? With so many camera movement, a big dragon, multiple character props, environment getting destroyed. This is like insane amount of work. Like, I want to repeat one more time. This is really impressive. So kudos to whoever did it. You guys should be proud. And you hope you enjoyed this analysis, guys. If you want to share your thoughts and stuff like that, let me know in the comment. I would love to hear it. And see you next time. Ciao, guys.